Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order, this workshop to order. It is 6:04 on October 24th, 2024. Yeah, it's still so hot. Okay, and I'm going to do a roll call of the city council members. So Terry Werner.
Here.
Matthew McGovern.
Here.
Laura, is Laura coming? Susan's on. Mike McLeod
Here.
and Sam Houston Clinton.
Here.
Okay. If you would rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And I will do the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this election that is happening and that we have the right to go to the polls and cast our vote. And we just thank you for our free nation, Lord God. And Heavenly Father, we do pray for rain. We've been so many days without it, and we just really need rain. Lord God, we just ask that you're with us this evening as we make decisions about the park, and just help us to make wise decisions. And as always, I thank you for the gift of salvation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. So we have talked about this and then we slowed everything down. And so tonight I was trying to bring the River Advisory Board and the Parks Advisory Board together to help discuss, because I think both groups were talking about this park. And if you could bring up on the CAD a map.
Okay.
So one thing I wanted to point out, I always thought that this was phase 2 and phase 3. Actually, where it says city right there, I gotta put my glasses on, I can't read the number. 32592. That's phase 3. So phase 1 is the one that we've developed. Phase 2 is this one that we're talking about, where we do the citywide cleanup and everything. And so Jared, I never was completely clear about that. And so he told us, hi. Okay, so just to do a little history, we were going to put it over at Hobson Ranch, and that didn't work out. So
What's it?
So part of developing phase 2 is the mini pitch. And so then we have decided to put it in phase 2. Once I went up on Owl Hollow, I'd always seen this piece of property from where we put the dumpsters and just thought of it as a worthless piece of property. Well, it's really beautiful. If there's anybody here who hasn't been up on the height, it's about 25 feet higher than where we put the dumpsters. So one of the reasons for putting the mini pitch up on the highest point is that piece of land where it says 27974. When they put in 1979, they cut some people's property little corners off. And if we saw the rest of Sam's, you'd see there's a tail of his property right next to phase 1. Well, that piece of property, the 27974, is go-in property. And we'd have to figure out how to contact that family and purchase that small piece of property. So that was one thing that we have to deal with. There is a light pole on 27894. There's a couple of light poles, but the highest point, we have contacted Bluebonnet, and they didn't have the pole in their any of their information any longer. I don't think getting electricity to that highest point is gonna be a problem, because if you, if you remember going along 1979, is major electrical lines that go over, even go over Sam's property to Bella Vista, I believe. So some people have talked about doing a crosswalk from phase 1 to phase 2. And I'm personally against that because I walk all the time. And so one day my daughter and I walked along 1979, and it is dangerous. It is, people are going really fast. We walked on Southeast River Road, and it's more or less like Northwest River Road. There's traffic, but they're not going as fast. So I feel like parking should be off of Southeast River Road. We could still use the Owl Hollow entrance for maybe vendor parking or just some kind of accessibility parking. Come on in.
Is this the,
Yes, we started at 6 o'clock.
Come on in,
I
Joe.
thought they told me 6:30 the
Well,
other
come
day.
on in. We just started.
We just got started.
Where is Corey? It sounds like he's dealing with his mom.
Oh, okay. I just know he.
Have a seat there, Mr. Joe.
Oh, this is all right.
Yeah, you can sit there.
Just,
Can you just repeat
Yeah.
the property numbers for phase 2 and 3?
Yes, so phase 2 is kind of like a triangle. It's 32593, 28220, over right next to that one. So it's 28220, 27894, 27892, 27893.
All of those?
That's all phase 2.
Oh, okay.
That's all phase 2. Phase 3 is 32592. Now, Mike McLeod's been on that property, and that's gonna require a lot. Now, that whole piece of property is in the floodway, the entire thing. And if you drive along 1979, you'll see where it kind of dips down even, and then it goes to the river. And of course, on the other side of where it says cattle is our Allen Bates Park. And that's pretty much in the floodway also. So most of this land, the reason we have it is because it's bought out FEMA land.
can I ask why it says cattle?
Its own, if you look on the CAD, it says Little Cattle Company or something like
It's the
that.
name of the owner of record.
Yeah, owner of record.
Gentleman's name's Callaway, his last name.
It's Wes Calloway. He also owns the
Oh.
dollar store.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
The city doesn't own it now.
No,
No, not yet.
No.
no.
Okay.
I
Oh,
would,
no, we'd love to buy it, but
Okay.
you gotta give us money.
now the other piece that we're trying to get is 28201, and then we'll almost have a straight shot clear down 1979 to the bridge. It'll connect, except for that,
Cochran property.
yeah. Well, and Maggie Smith, the
Maggie Smith.
28201 is Maggie Smith.
That's a whole
So-
new story. That's a whole nother story.
All right,
Yeah.
wait, what was the other one? Maggie Smith and what?
Other one we'd like to get is that 76298,
Callaway.
but that's
76298.
98.
Oh, that's the Callaway. So
And then-
only 2? I thought there were 3.
Well, and then there's all of those along the river, but that's a whole bunch. of
That's the
different
2835 and all of those.
Yeah, I think there's 7.
7 by the river.
There's 7 property owners by the river that, they've been grandfathered. They're all R1. They're zoned R1.
Mhm.
That they can't build. The elevation down there, every one of them's in the floodway.
Mhm.
The elevation there in most cases is, 50, I think the highest in that whole area is like 509. And the road, which still floods, is at 1979 and Southeast River Road is at 517. Is the elevation.
Okay,
The mini pitch location is at 527. So it's more than 10 feet higher than the intersection of 1979 and Southeast River Road.
I believe it's in the 500-year floodplain, right?
Yes.
Everything is, I have the map, I did bring the map, Sam, because I know you wanted to see it. This is the map from Caldwell County,
Oh, great.
and it does say everything now, Sam, even some of your property now is considered in the 500.
Well,
Because
yeah, I
they keep
mean,
expanding it.
it
Yeah.
starts there and then it moves
Yeah.
into 27894, but historically, I'll say that 32593 was a dump for many, many years. It was a public dump. And so a decision was made either to cap it with dirt or to, remove it. And so they capped it with dirt, but also the Doc Cochran property 28201, he also sort of squatted there and lived there for many years and allowed people to dump debris onto his property, but
Now, which one is that again?
his property is 28201.
One, yeah,
I thought that was Maggie Smith.
that
Okay,
is,
but-
but on the CAD, it says
It's
Maggie
Maggie
Smith.
Smith's property. It's the estate of Maggie
Can we
Smith.
go slowly? Because these,
Yeah.
if you haven't been talking about this religiously, then these get everyone's saying I'm too fast and I can't even find them before we've moved on.
Right. So the 28201, according to the CAD, it belongs to Maggie Smith. And
And it's also
she's the
Cochran?
sister of Doc Cochran.
Doc.
So that's why he probably squatted there. They didn't, a lot of times family members don't change it on the CAD. But
Um,
what happened with that particular piece of property that our attorney's working with, they've done a title search. They said they've never seen one as bad as that one. And it's been done a couple times now. Maybeth Bagley did it in 98 when they were doing the buyouts. Never could find proper owners or anything.
So that property, 28201, is that the same one that Sam was just referring to having been a dump?
No,
Yeah.
the dump was, well, that was a dump, but the dump was also, which was the public dump, was the triangle 32593.
Oh, that was the dump.
That was a
32.
big dump. That was a whole.
And has
dump.
any remediation taken place?
Yeah. They
capped
covered
it,
it,
right?
as well.
What?
Capped it.
They capped it. And to give
They
y'all,
capped
just give y'all a little history, the reason the city got incorporated is because San Marcos wanted to put their city dump on that property. And
Thank
that's why
goodness they
Martindale
did.
got incorporated in 1983.
So do we know, the last time that was an active dump?
Guessing, I would say early 80s.
Is there a way to find that out? Anyone?
Exact year,
I'd
Well,
say,
when would it have been deeded to the city? It was after the 98
in
flood.
98, but I know it was
it was a dump about 30,
a
40 years ago.
1980, I'd say around 1980, because we got incorporated in 83, so that probably stopped at that time. I would
Ton
think.
82.
82 or
Says so right there.
Oh, I'm sorry, 82, not 83.
Uh,
My facts straight. Thanks,
I'm
Mayor.
I'm gonna say something about all of this because we have ordinances that the city has established, which are rules that the city has set, codes and ordinances that citizens have to abide by. In 2008, the compatibility standard of 155060 was established to intend to preserve and protect low-density neighborhoods. And it applies to all multifamily and non-residential
This is-
development.
Okay, Sam, I'm gonna stop you because we don't want to get off on a tangent. We've covered this numerous times. The attorney has talked to you about it. Since this is a park now, this is parkland, even though it's R2, it's, phase 2 is zoned R2.
Mhm.
It is parkland, so it,
No,
according,
my land is zoned R2, and this
Yes.
is development that you cannot put the soccer field 14 feet away from my
and
property
he
line.
answered
It
you,
has to be 100 feet
Can we stay on
away.
subject?
Sam,
Sam, can we stay on
answered,
subject?
we've covered this
Listen,
several
I'm
times.
gonna fight
We're not
this, I'm
gonna-
gonna fight this till the ends of the world, believe you me, because you are not abiding by your ordinance.
And the city attorney answered you.
He did not answer me on,
Yes.
on this, and I
He
am
copied
not
me,
gonna be
so I
quiet
know.
about this. I
He
am not
answered.
gonna be quiet about
Then you'll
this.
have to leave the meeting. Because
No,
what
I'm
we're,
not. No,
what we
I'm
come
not.
here
Yes.
tonight to do is to try and decide, and we've attempted to do this several times now, is what we want to do is, this is 8 beautiful acres. We've got the other acreage over there that in time we're going to deal with. But tonight we want to deal with this 8 acres and
Okay.
decide how we want it to look in the future.
Recreational activities have to be 50 feet away from R2, and they have to have an 8-foot fence.
That ordinance is dealing with commercial.
No, it's,
entities.
listen, I'll
Sam,
read it
Sam,
one
Sam,
last time.
It's a workshop, Sam.
But
it's a
I'm telling you
workshop.
that the proposal of putting the soccer field there does not work based on your
I've read
ordinance.
the ordinance and I've talked to the attorney. He's answered you. We're gonna move on from that.
Okay,
if you
well,
wanna
then I'm
continue
gonna hire an attorney then, okay?
Well, if you
Then I'll
want
hire
to-
an attorney and fight this.
If
Have
you
we
wanna-
done anything? We haven't decided on anything, right?
Not yet.
Yes, it
This
was
was a
decided to
workshop.
put it right there against 14 feet
Well,
away
I'm
from my
sure they
property.
can move it.
Huh?
It doesn't
Well,
have
that's
to be
not-
right
this is-
against-
this isn't a workshop.
It's just
Okay.
a workshop.
Yeah, it's just a workshop.
Nothing's in
Just
stone.
no work, it's just,
I'm
there's
just
no,
saying.
no voting tonight, just a workshop.
It was already voted on to put it there. I voted against it, okay? The council has already voted on it, okay?
Yeah.
Didn't somebody say that they weren't willing to put it in there, the people that are actually putting it in because of the cross, yeah.
No, they wanted us to address those concerns.
So what it is.
And that's what, I didn't want to do it. I mean, I can't do it on my own. But that's what I wanted to do. I let a lot of time go by and try to let things cool down so that we could come back and talk about the property. Corey took a number of us on the property. Were you one of those? And so when you do get up on top, it is very beautiful. And so we've got a nice piece of property to work with. We tried to get a grant a year ago that would have put a walking path on the riverside of 1979. And it went down to phase 1, but then we would have had to come back up. So it's still somewhat of a dream of mine to have a walking path along 1979 to phase 1, go under the bridge, and that would be a way safer way to get from the park over to, from phase 1 to phase 2. Because like I say, I have walked 1979 a couple of times now, and it is not safe. There's no walkways. You can't even walk across the bridge. Like my daughter lives across over off of Tatum Road, and there's no way I can walk to her house.
Just a quick question. I mean, I know this is a workshop. Are y'all considering, when you're saying putting the parking at 32593, are you talking about all the parking that we currently have at phase 1 would be moved?
Oh, no.
Okay, just
This would
checking.
just be for people who are using phase 2 park.
Okay, and so if they wanted to come across right now, they would have to move their vehicle.
So right now, there's about 3 reasons to not put it up around the pecan tree. One is the entrance belongs to somebody
What
else.
country?
On 27892, do you remember when we drove up there?
Mhm.
First, we kind of come to a flat area and there was that big pecan tree. And then there was the back entrance to Sam's property. And then I turned and went up the hill to where I was showing you where the mini pitch could be put. And that's why I'm talking about the big pecan tree. So I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm just making sure that we all are on the same page when we're discussing it.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So that's, the floor is open. If anybody has any thoughts about how we should use this land. We know that where we put the dumpsters, that's pretty ugly land down there, but I think we can make it look nicer. Sam's done a lot with phase one down there. We put in loads and loads of gravel, road base. And because when we first started using it, it was just a giant mud pit and you couldn't really get in there. So it's pretty nice now. That park is used more than Allen Bates, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I did have, I thought you were.
That's okay.
So I did have an idea, when they were asking for, I think, 3 things. They wanted us, the people that are making this, the soccer field, wanted us to address the safe passage from one park to the other to get to that soccer field, and
Yes.
lighting, right?
Yeah.
And parking. Was it
Yes.
parking? And then
Yes.
what was the 4th thing?
How to use the land, how.
Oh,
we
right, a
proposing
development of the rest of the land so that
Yeah.
it wasn't just a soccer field out there.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, so when we were talking about all of those things, one thought about crossing 79, because you're right, it is very dangerous. However, I just really feel like there's a good possibility that you're gonna end up with kids running back and forth. It's not a matter of parking, it's a matter of their family is at the riverside and they want to go play soccer or vice versa. And you're gonna end up with people trying to cross regardless of car. One thought, just a random thought. Now, I don't know how this works because I think 79 is a county road, is that right?
State road.
So it's not our road.
It's a
So
state
we can't
highway.
like just do stuff to it.
Right.
But I did wonder if it would be possible to get, I don't know how many of you have seen, Austin has them and now San Marcos has one like by the library
Yeah.
where it's a crossing, but it's a stoplight, but it's only a stoplight if someone's trying to cross the street. Yeah, you push the button, it makes a red light for traffic. The car has to stop, the people can cross. And then if there's no people in the crossway, it starts blinking and you have to like look both ways. And I think you have to still stop, but you can go right away, right? I don't know, something or another. But I do know it makes you like there is an official red light right there. So it's better than just like, oh, there's a crosswalk and then a car comes by 80 miles an hour, like Wile E. Coyote, you know, you get smashed over. Like you would have to stop, which would be good for traffic on that road anyways, because traffic is way too fast. But that's just a thought, and I don't know if it's possible, and I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, TxDOT, I'm sorry,
And
TxDOT,
that's what you wanted. You wanted to
well,
cross.
TxDOT, we have very little influence on TxDOT.
Right, right.
Our chief does have contacts, like, for example, the no parking, I was amazed that he got that pulled off. So it is, he's looked into, it's possible to have a crosswalk, but there would not be a light. It would just be a crosswalk.
How do you know that? Have we asked specifically about the light?
I'm just guessing.
I don't think that's ever been a question asked. I think we
Well,
just thought of a crosswalk, but the
I think-
idea you have right now, we've never really.
Really
I'm just-
thought about.
I'm going on what the chief told.
Mhm.
And I'm saying is, it's possible to get a crosswalk with a light, maybe, maybe not, but what he told me, it would be difficult, but that's come from him, not me.
Is there any way we could get him to answer that question?
Well,
Or get TxDOT to answer. the
he
question.
has reached out to TxDOT about a possible crosswalk. Now, with a light, I doubt it.
Well,
Just
what
like-
about what Laura's talking about? Would that be a text dot question?
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because it's their road.
Now, what would be, can we get that, remember that grant we applied for with that, trail from downtown to,
Oh, gosh, I haven't even seen that in
Okay.
a long time.
I have that one. Send it to me.
Yeah,
I got it this morning.
okay.
There was no response from TxDOT as why we did not get it. But Langford did say there was an opportunity to reapply. It does come up
Yeah,
every year.
so,
So I'm gonna let you handle the rest of that, because I don't want to step on your toes.
Well, I think it'd be a great
But we
thing
need
for
to-
our
if they're
city.
gonna
So-
charge us any more money to reapply.
Yeah,
Well, we will have to revise it in order to reapply.
Okay, this is my 2 cents worth, and we talked about this, remember, a couple of years ago about that. That, if we got that, that would be, could be the start of our hiking bike trail system. Because that would go right through, the post office, across 1980, at the apartments, and you walk down and it kind of cuts across that gravel pit. So if you had that trail, that would be, for example, the start of our trail system, because that would, and if we ever, remember we talked about it, if we ever could get the trail to go to phase 1 and then go under the bridge,
Yes.
that would be the hot set, and have another trail coming up. That would be the dream, because then you could not even have to get on 1970.
Right.
Right.
So I talked to Texas Park and Wildlife about that. That's why I was asking for the other grant, to see how far Turk went. And he did not go under the bridge.
No,
We were
because,
going to at first.
right, and then
I
we
would
changed it.
I'm gonna ask him for that map of what he did for that, because that, when I talked to Ryan, about 4 or 5 months ago, Dorothy and I, he came to our property and then went down to the park, and we were just BSing about what we were trying to do. Same thing we're doing here, and he said that that is something that they might be able to help us with. So,
You know, I have those boards.
yeah, so I'm gonna try and forward that to him to see, because he said that's relatively inexpensive, because all we're talking about is road base. There's no property, that we're acquiring in with regard to that. We're using an easement. We would have to get permission from TxDOT, but technically we don't, because that's public land.
And, yeah, the reason that we didn't end up applying for that portion was, they weren't gonna fund it because it didn't go to anywhere. But if we develop 2 and 3, it will go somewhere, so we can include it in our plan. And I am all over that plan. I loved it before. I still love it. I hope we get it. I am thinking, though, that that plan is gonna take, like, let's say we apply for it again next year. It takes however many months to find out if we get it. We've had several grants now that the mayor is kind enough to put those little boxes on the mail outs that tell us an update on them. And they're moving real slow. And I'm just thinking, if we're building a soccer field that invites people to cross that road, not officially, not formally, but
Right.
informally, it sends a message to people, hey, come on over. There's a park over here, there's a park over here. All you got in the middle is a street. I think we need, at the same time, to have a
Yeah.
crosswalk or some way to safe passage, because you can't just tell the soccer people, we're hoping we'll get a grant in the next couple of years. And what are you gonna tell the family of the kid that gets hit? You weren't supposed to go there? I mean, the city is putting a park on either side.
What I'm thinking is to get started with the park development is to have parking like on 28220, that area.
Right, but I'm talking about
And
people
then-
crossing, not using cars.
And then to gate the other one
What do you mean gated?
so that people can't drive up in there.
I'm not talking about cars. I'm talking about people walking across 1979 to get to the other park.
Absolutely. I understand. I agree.
And I'm with you, and that's why I'm working towards that goal with, I'm hoping. Ryan said that is relatively cheap. It's not a big cost to do that kind of thing.
Who's Ryan?
Ryan McGill said he's from Texas Park a lot.
Okay,
And, he lives in San Marcos. He's been on the park committee and in San Marcos as well, so he's very knowledgeable.
But is a crosswalk enough to ensure that somebody doesn't get hit?
No, what's gonna happen is we're put the trail under the bridge.
Okay,
So the pathway will be clearly established.
To go down
go down
under the
underneath.
bridge, especially for children.
okay.
So obviously signage would be
important.
important to
Direct.
direct them to, but the mayor's point is if there is a blockage of, that road, that also doesn't provide a quick pathway for someone to,
Drive quickly.
drive quickly or walk across there, because it's not a pathway. right now it's a driveway, so the path of least resistance, if you were on that property, is exactly what your concern is
Y'all
crossing
understand what we're
there.
talking about? Kind of see, let me go up there, show them.
I think we know.
Okay. Okay, what the mayor is proposing for now is, am I correct, Mayor, to make the parking lot here?
Or
I don't think
even
they can see
further.
that, Mike. Can you pull it out? Does that rotate out from the wall?
Okay, so that main road
You
right
pull the
there.
TV Wait, could you pull the TV out from the wall a little? They can't, you're, it's behind their heads.
Well, it's on both of them.
Right, but he's not pointing.
Okay, I can go over here, go over here, we go here. So, what's,
Get my bearings first before you.
okay, here, okay,
So that's 1979.
pointer? You got a pointer, there you go. Okay, this is Southeast River Road right here,
Okay.
okay? So what the mayor's talking about, that's when we do our cleanups of the brush piles. That's where she's talking about putting a parking lot.
No further over towards Sam's.
Okay, right in there then, right in, okay, right in there, somewhere in there. And then the mini pitch is about right here, okay? So what she's saying is have the parking lot here, and they park their car and they walk up to the mini pitch.
It's a gentle slope.
It's a gentle slope. So then that's the mini pitch. So what our dream is to have that TxDOT trail from the post office to phase one, which would kind of go like this, go through here, and then go to here, which is phase one. And then could you go up a little bit with your picture there? So then you come up here and then you hit here and then you come around, you go under the bridge, and then you make another trail coming this way.
Yeah.
So at that point, what she's talking about, a gate is right here to close access off, because that's what we're talking about, that parking lot with a mini pitch being there. So the concern is people walking or driving across this road.
We would want to discourage that
So she wants to put a gate right there to close that off.
until we can get everything else in place.
So like I say, the dream would be, this is how I look at it, to have that TxDOT grant. You have your trail here, and then you could branch off with trails or whatever anybody wants to do at that point. So I think that trail would be the main point.
Wasn't that private property between the parking lot of phase one and,
Okay, right here, we own, okay, Alan Bates, this is the Callaway property, we own this, this is the Doc Cocker property, which we're working.
Which we're working on.
And then here's phase one right here.
But that strip.
And then here is private property, right in there.
The strip in between 1979 and that parking lot right there.
Here,
Yeah.
that's Mr. Clinton's property right in here. Is that right, Sam? That's your property right there.
And so how would the trail cross under that bridge?
Well, there's an easement on TxDOT.
Okay.
So TxDOT's got an easement, and we could follow that easement and then go under that bridge and then
TxDOT takes
and then follow
16 feet.
and then follow that easement up this way. Okay?
But you get to answer your point, you get to phase one, yes, you'll have to come back up 1979 before you can actually enter the park. I have walked it, I walked it right after they mowed it this last time, I did before because it was dangerous. But I walked it, and all they've done is put some rock in there because there was people bringing vehicles down in there, and they just retired that. You can still, it still acts accessible. It's, public lane, they can't stop you from being there, and you can fish underneath there. But you cannot get a vehicle down there.
Right.
Because people were parking cars under there and they're fishing, and they're not, can't do that. So they put these big boulders down there. That was all that gravel and boulders on 1979.
And bring up what the mayor said, what the reason she wants to put that parking lot over here is the safety, because you could drive your car, and Southeast River Road is not a busy road. You could walk, and the kids could walk up and do the mini pitch at that point right there. But I agree with you, Laura, is to have, the hot step would be to have a crosswalk right here. Really, in my opinion, the hot setup would be to have a light here at Main Street 1979
to slow the traffic down, then you'd have a perfect pedestrian walkway, but that's TxDOT.
Crosswalk's gonna help a little bit, but along the sides of the road, there just isn't anywhere to walk at all.
Yeah.
I tried to walk on and you get off the pavement and you're just in the weeds or the ditch or something.
And so, Matthew, were you talking about putting a fence or barrier along 1979 so people don't take the path of least resistance?
That's the mayor, that's what Mike's talking about. That is a driveway up
Right.
It's called Owl Hall.
Owl Hollow. And so if we had something there right now, the concern obviously would be they would cross and then they can't get right across. It's dangerous. If you've driven it, so I know you live over there, you drive by it all the time.
I run that road.
Yeah, so it's dangerous. It's just something we're gonna have to address.
I think my point is though, if there's any sort of park, playground, baseball field, soccer field, anything up there, and there's not a fence along 1979, they're gonna run across anyway, because that's quicker, shorter, and easier
Yes,
than walking down the river going.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
And that's gonna be children, that will be adults, that will be anyone.
That's why we're here.
That's
That's why we're here.
Yeah,
But you're right, we need a crosswalk.
we're trying to figure out.
Or, actually, I'm suggesting what Lori's suggesting and put a stoplight with a crosswalk there, but it sounds like that's a little harder. But
Well,
We don't know yet.
We
We'll
can
find
ask.
out.
well,
We can
the good news, our police chief has connection with TxDOT. I was amazed that he was able to get to no parking. That amazed me. So there is dialogue. So.
I had a question about FEMA buyout properties, because this is a FEMA buyout property. It's the old Cochran property and the Simon property. And there are parameters about open space for FEMA buyout properties. And one of them says that you can have it for parks for outdoor recreational use or wetlands management, but you can only have unimproved, unpaved parking lots, which means that pavement is not allowed in the floodway. And we know that from Allen Bates Park, but we can't have a parking lot there where we're suggesting, and even in our parking standards, you can't have two separate properties, two separate lots for a piece of property that you're developing. The development and the parking has to be on the same lot unless you open it up and make it one piece of property. But we need to really analyze the warranty deeds of all of these properties that state what you cannot do based on the Stratford Act. It says like a public facility that's open on four sides.
But
A
those deeds
restroom.
don't matter anymore because their FEMA buyouts and all of that land's been given to the city of Martindale.
No, this is perpetuity. These are standards that exist. And so.
No. What she's saying, if there was a pre-existing requirement on that property, the minute it was bought by the city, any other encumbrances and rules got thrown away.
Because it was bought out by FEMA.
It was bought out in FEMA. Now, what you alluded to originally, which is on every single deed, is the verbiage of usage is on every deed. I pulled every one of those deeds for the last meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I went down, Dorothy and I went to Lockhart, down to the thing and pulled them. And I also found them online, another way, they're just not real visible. And they say the exact same word, the same word it says on there. The city can basically do anything it wants. The city can, if it's for park or recreational purposes.
Well, it says to maintain in perpetuity the property for uses compatible with open space, recreation, or wetlands management.
We're getting off subject, Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
We're talking.
So what else do you guys want to do? I mean,
With the
obviously, it was
park.
brought up the concern of safety.
And here's our police,
We're with you on that, trust us, but thank you.
here's our police chief, Mr. Ward, Police Chief Ward. We were talking about, remember we discussed about having a crosswalk on 1970, it is TxDOT.
Yes.
You've had some discussions with TxDOT.
I did. And at some point in time, they didn't have a reason just to put a crosswalk in because there was nothing for pedestrians to go back and forth to. So they said they would not put a crosswalk in at that time. If we were to get something, and I'm not either for or against, if we were to get something, then they would probably re-look at the situation and say, now we can put a crosswalk in. Probably slow that speed down out there, do some different things. put some flashing lights in and things like that.
That was our next question, the flashing lights. We were talking about the library and on Hopkins in San Marcos. They've put in a light that if you want to cross the street, you push that and it stops the traffic.
I don't think they're gonna stop traffic out there. It would be just a caution type light, similar to what, I don't even think they'll put big lights like they did on 1980 at Quail Run. I'm thinking probably some flashing lights just basically on a sign. That would just be caution lights. That's it.
But my question is, could that be the first step? The caution lights, first step, you do that, and then say our parks develop, we get more pedestrian traffic, we got more people coming, can it go to the next step, whereas a signal light?
Oh. Yeah, that would, I don't think they're gonna put me personally, I don't see them putting a signal light out there unless you have, a crossroad or reason for cross traffic or something like that.
But in your discussions with them, you think they would possibly consider a flashing light or a crosswalk?
My discussion with them was solely about the crosswalk, and then they said no about it now. I could see them putting flashing lights out there, or the city, purchasing flashing lights, just to go on the sign that says pedestrian.
Could you do us a favor?
Sure.
Could you, in your discussion with TxDOT, tell them our situation here, we're developing our parks, and see if it's under discussion that we could have a crosswalk with flashing lights?
So I said that last time, and they won't even talk to you until you get something developed.
That's why we're here. So we have a plan.
Yeah, if we have a
Then,
plan.
then you have ammunition.
Correct.
There you go. Thanks, Ward.
Well, whatever you do, when you first make a change, people are going to ignore it as much as they can. They're used to driving through at a certain rate, okay, certain speed. I guess most of them slow down when they get to that little curve there by the Allen Davis. But people, they don't like
No, not
change.
really, it's a blind curve.
They don't like change. They don't say, what are you messing with? I'm just saying, I don't know what his experience has been, but
We don't get a lot of speeders out there. Most of them are running right along the speed limit. It's 45 coming in. It was 55 and it drops to 45 and then it drops to 30 at the curve. And we'll get some 53s in that 45, but really that's probably you'll get that occasional speeder, okay?
It's still
But-
scary. I don't care.
Yeah, but
Not scary.
Not go crazy.
there was a guy that was going 100 miles an hour and went off, but that was just one person on New Year's.
So do y'all folks have any, Malcolm, Joy, y'all have any suggestions, like, for, I mean, we're kind of getting off track here a little bit, but I mean, we're talking the future, our dream,
I
What-
wondered if you couldn't use that area,
which one, which area?
that we're just talking about putting them.
Phase 2 and 3.
Yeah,
Use that for a different reason. Like Catherine was saying, it's a beautiful area. Could we put some hiking trails?
oh, yeah.
Or some
Oh,
other
yeah.
kind of outdoor activities? So we're not so concerned about the soccer kids being there.
And that's what I was gonna ask is what other things, I understand that that is an issue. But as a development of a park, what other conversations have we had about what are the things that we want to do? And I think that y'all have been
Yeah, we
talking
have
about
had some
that.
conversations.
So what
What y'all got?
ideas
Bring it on.
are?
You mind if I stepped up with the map pointer?
Go
Yeah.
for it.
I was hoping Corey would be here with a little crown or something. Well, I'm not as tall as you either.
Hey, so I'll say, speak to Corey real quick. You had an emergency. That's what I was tied up on. He can't make it tonight.
Okay.
Well, she's okay.
All right, we were talking up at the top, and I'm not tall enough, but up in the corner, but where Southeast River Road and 1979 come together,
Yeah.
that's a perfect triangle for like a softball, baseball type field. Then there's some area right in the middle here where the power lines run through, so we'd have to see what sort of easement there is with that, but having a dog park with the dog park, it's really only a fence that you're gonna be putting up there, so I don't think Blue Bonnet would have too much of an issue with that.
The only problem with the fence is that it's all floodway, it goes 20 feet deep underwater. So you're gonna have an issue with the fence getting blown out during a flood, that's the only.
Isn't there a fence around the soccer field though?
If it is-
Well,
No.
that's how the flood, that's in the 500-year floodplain. This is the floodway we're talking
Well,
about.
don't they make like flood breakaway type fences?
Good,
Yeah.
good. You'd have to look
Our
at it.
It would have to be
engineer said they
something-
do.
Yeah, it would definitely have to be.
They,
designed.
they fall flat
Yeah,
when the
exactly.
water hits them.
Yeah.
And then, parking, as we talked about, just like the mayor had mentioned, up on the corner there.
Yeah.
And then up here where we were talking where that 500-year floodplain is, we're talking about having that as the pinnacle of like a gazebo up there, possibly some sort of picnic bench type thing. And then we're also talking about having trails or a trail just kind of throughout. And that would be kind of the top of the trail up that way. There was also talk about a possible restroom up there because there's no restroom facilities on either parks, phase 1 or anywhere else. And then the other part we had talked about was a couple disc golf baskets throughout, which if we connect the parks going underneath the river, that would be, we could even talk about putting it into, extending it into phase 1 as well, the disc golf course.
Didn't y'all talk,
Frisbee golf, yeah.
didn't y'all talk about putting the soccer field somewhere else?
We talked about putting the soccer field extending Alan Bates parking lot. There's a tree there extending the parking lot.
We've been through that. I'll be honest, we've been through that. The problem with that is that mini pitch has got fencing and rails, and that's in a floodway, and it would get totally destroyed. Anything in that floodway is not feasible for that mini pitch.
Well, then the other place we talked, we talked about extending the parking on Alan Bates, no matter what, that way we can have some more park mobile there. But then what is that, Cemetery Road that's on the other side of Southeast River? Putting the soccer field over there.
That's also-
I don't know if that's.
Actually, just to give y'all history, that's called that's the bypass. They call it the Martindale bypass. And high water, the river actually splits and it goes across the gravel pits, Mike Holmes gravel pits, and it actually goes all the way to Highway 80. So that's all underwater. In fact, if you go down Southeast River, if you go down Southeast River Road and right next to Mr. Clem's property, if you look to the right, there's huge logs in there, and that came from the 15th flood. That stuff floated on the river up to there, so that's all underwater.
But
Yeah.
on the other hand, when that happens, that's what why FEMA designated that area.
With-
Could be used
For parking.
for
Oh, yeah.
parking,
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah, parking
that
lot.
It doesn't, it's
Yeah.
not gonna destroy
Correct.
any property.
Correct,
So
parking lots.
why can't we still consider
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, parking
Oh,
lots,
definitely.
soccer fields, frisbee golf, yes.
Sure.
I think those are all the walking trails and all your
Yeah.
recreational areas
Yeah.
are fantastic.
Yeah.
I would concentrate on using, permeable surfaces.
Oh, yeah,
for
road
everywhere.
base. You have to, in fact, you have to.
And especially be careful about fencing,
Yeah.
anything that will, impact, your neighbors down
Yeah,
there.
because that's one thing that Mr. Cliff brought up. You cannot put a pavement in a floodway area. That's why we got that property in a floodway. It has to be permeable. But again, like you said, soccer fields, not mini pits, soccer fields, baseball, any of that would be totally acceptable.
The other thing that was mentioned, I forgot to talk about, we just brought up this past week, was having similar to the dirt track in Lockhart, they've got a monkey bar and a sit-up and a pull-up station and that kind of things along some of the trails or
Oh,
possibly
yeah.
up at the top, either some sort of like little exercise workout.
They do that at the
Things along the way.
hospital.
Yeah.
Again, if you would have to do it close to, like, for example, if you're gonna do that, I would put it close to Alan Bates in that area where the playground is, something like that. And then if you get like phase 1,
This is the flood line.
you're gonna have a problem with floodway, because it goes 30, 40 feet underwater there. So but you could, for example, picnic tables. You could probably put picnic tables, you'd have to put them in concrete. So something would have to be very rigid or durable to be in.
You could put them in Alan Bates, so that's not.
Alan, okay,
I'd have to do some research. I don't think you can put anything that's gonna impede the flow of water.
He's right, that's right.
Yeah.
But
No, except if it's for recreational purpose. You can actually.
Yeah,
put
isn't that crazy?
But you could put a bathroom in the floodway even. But you could put a bathroom, but it must be built in theory to withstand, like, I grew up in Miami, so everything was cinder block. I mean, and there are bathrooms that they build, the,
There's bathrooms on beaches everywhere.
exactly, so you would have to build a bathroom, not of stick,
And they
but
have,
of concrete that would
Picnic
allow
tables.
flow, water flow.
And-
concrete steel.
they
Okay.
have big baseball diamonds, even in Austin's floodway, in FEMA properties. They've got the fencing that goes behind the dugouts and all of that. So you guys really need to figure out what is okay and not okay. So
We
I
could
think
put- we
you're
could put a
a little
baseball field
over
Down there's enough room,
precautious about
Cautious.
it.
There's enough
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
There's definitely enough room to put a softball field.
If y'all, has anybody done it like a sketch or a drawing of proposed?
Corey had something, but I don't have a copy of it.
Like I said, what
We can get that to you.
what I recommend is get that, Catherine, get that, when we apply for that, tech stock grant, that would be a great way to start your plan for your hike and bike trail, because it shows that trail system going down and the proposed going under the bridge. And I think that would be a good way to start your trail system, in my opinion.
Have y'all looked at any other grants or, for basic, like for things like,
Yes.
okay, so they're out there.
Yes, Laura's
There's a
looked
small
at some.
You're the expert on it.
Yeah, small community grant for, Parks and Wildlife, that they.
Okay.
Parks and Wildlife is really the only one
Really?
that's gonna do your parks
Your parts.
and wildlife.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And so at least in this area, in Texas
Mhm.
area,
Mhm.
that's who you're gonna go to get infrastructure and park development.
Okay.
So Lauren, your
Then-
professional opinion, I'm sorry.
This is what the parks have, by the way.
Oh, you have it.
Oh, you got it. Good job. Well, that's not, well.
Dog,
There
okay.
you,
The dog park under the electric lines.
Lots
Parking.
up there, I think the yellow is like a trail.
Yes.
There you go.
I think that's this gazebo.
That's
Yeah.
showing the trail under the bridge.
Yeah, the gazebo's not there.
That doesn't show the trail.
it
under the
says,
bridge,
I
no.
think that says gazebo, but it's upside down.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Well, that's no good.
Then what does that say at the bottom?
What's that script? I can't read it. It's
It's upside down.
Trees. Trees?
Trees.
Somebody get on.
No,
that.
track. Oh, track. Trails.
Trails.
Trails, nice. Well done, ladies. Well
How many
done.
council members does it take
Teamwork,
to read about?
teamwork.
Okay, all right, so, are you the only park guy here?
And Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, okay, sorry about that, Jeff.
It's okay, I came in late.
Have y'all, do y'all ever talk about, or discuss or even look at, like riparian areas with the parks?
We,
Wait, what are you asking?
Riparian,
Oh, repairing. I thought you said repairing. I was like, what are we repairing?
riparian.
Gotcha.
As part of your park conversation.
I thought the river
Like,
people did that.
like, what do you have in mind?
Well, it just, I have a couple of issues right now where phase one is
Okay.
that need,
we're talking,
But no, I understand what she's saying. The grass got cut too short in
Well,
phase
it's-
one.
I mean, that's, and for an example,
Yeah,
on phase one, there, along the river, there are some issues that we've addressed with Ryan and just, learning, and I haven't talked to the river, other people about it. So my question was, where we need to focus on saving the bank,
right.
because the more people. Anyway, so I was just wondering if that had come up in any equations, but obviously y'all are focusing on this. I thought we were talking about the whole area, yeah.
I can say in a related but not exactly related way, that, when I met with Corey about the Texas Park and Wildlife grant program, one of the things that we discussed was the importance of making sure that in phase 2 and 3, wildlife isn't pushed out in order that we can have more stuff there. So, like with the trails, making sure that they stay very rustic, that, there are some deer that run through there.
And turkeys,
Mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yes, it was the turkeys that he was saying he saw a whole,
Oh, yeah.
what do you call a thing of turkeys?
Raptor,
A what?
a raptor,
Really?
yes.
That's not what he
Raptor and
said,
turkeys.
but I like that
I
word.
think it's called a gaggle.
That's.
I like that, so he saw a whole, a raptor or a rafter,
Raptor,
I made that up.
like the board, like a thing.
raptor.
Yeah.
So he saw a
And
raptor
that
and
kind of-
turkey.
Kind of gets to my next thing, which when I'm thinking of park and what my concerns are, I mean, everything else, I love it and I love it, is that we need to make sure that we have the native plants to protect what's already there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
So no,
Corey had mentioned,
So what?
no elephant ears?
No?
Corey had mentioned around like the trails and things as those are being developed and you need to kind of put in some landscape in places. He is very partial to just only native Texas things. So I think that is in his brain. I'm not trying to speak for him.
My goal would be to pull out everything that's invasive.
Although in that
But I
class,
know-
they
I know
said don't.
Invasive,
Mhm.
it's keeping soil, so it has a purpose, so I.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but.
Yes, Jeff.
Sergio Gomez and I have passed the year or two right there in phase 1 on the river. And people were trying to fish and they couldn't get to the bank, they couldn't get to the river. So we went along a stretch there, I don't know how many yards, and took out all those big, I don't know what kind of vines they are, like some kind of vines are hanging out from the tree. Anyway, we went in there and cleared out a bunch of, dead wood and stuff in the river there and vines so people could actually walk down next to the river and fish because they were having trouble doing that.
Okay,
And I probably should have spoken to somebody.
no, that's okay. What we should do, and this is based on research, I think we've gone to workshops, and Ryan is especially, is that what we do is create entrance exit points.
Mhm.
So people can access and so people can, fish. And then the rest of it, we want to keep as native as we can so that it's not bare. Like right now, it's just bare dirt.
Oops. We
No,
didn't, we
it's,
didn't do that.
that's okay. That's okay.
No rain.
It may have turned into that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, luckily we haven't had any rain, but because it is very important for people to have access to the river. That's why they're coming. And so we want to do that in the right way.
Right.
And
Without erosion control.
Right. But I understand what you're saying, and it is very important for people to have access there, and so we have to intentionally make it happen.
Right.
You know.
Oh.
Now, is the pathway going under the bridge gonna interfere with the fishing? If it were to happen?
I don't know what people are doing in the.
They're fishing there anyway,
Fishing
probably.
under the bridge.
It's not gonna affect anything, there's plenty.
I guess, Laura, I got a question for you. I mean, we need to get, would it be worthwhile to get a professional, like a drawing of this proposal, or our proposal, when we settle on what kind of trails to submit for a grant proposal, like here, this is why we want the Tech Stock grant, because we're gonna design this park with hiking and bike trails. Would that be beneficial? To have a design of a park?
For the Texas Park, every grant is different, but for the Texas Park and Wildlife grant, you not only are gonna have to have a professional drawing, and in fact, Corey and I had a lovely conversation about the map guy is what we called him the entire time, because we weren't sure who does that map. It's not really a survey person, it's a cartographer, I guess. But you have to have a professional map drawn to scale with north indicate, like there's a whole list of requirements for the map. But on top of that, you will also have to have, the Army Corps has to do a study. You have to have the Texas Historical Commission sign off on it. you have to have like 5 different studies done.
This,
So,
this is the text parking lot.
Well,
So
and you have
you'll
to
already-
show,
in order to apply, you will already have your map. If you want to apply for the text dot one, you'll have a map
We got the
because you have
text
to have it.
already,
for this.
Turk did that. We already got that. text.
No, I meant,
Oh, text parking lot.
no, if you want to reapply for text dot,
Yeah.
you'll have your phase 2 and 3 map. Because you have to get one professionally made for Texas.
Oh, we had to do
parking lot.
that and did additional, remember before we just showed Turkish through that trail going to phase 1. So
And
we
then-
really need to extend to have that all
If-
one encompassed in one document.
If you were going to have if you want to justify to text dot why you want to go under the bridge and over to phase 2 and 3, then you need to have something that indicates what's in 2 and 3 that you're going to.
Okay.
We asked to do that.
Huh?
I'm
Our
working on that.
city engineer.
That, we kind of wondered that. That was the first
We
person
do
that came
that
to
one.
our minds, but, I told him I'm gonna get a hold of Texas Parks and Wildlife and find out who most people, who is the
Do
person you
that.
go to. And, I will let y'all know. I
Do we,
called,
do
but I
we,
didn't get a hold of
do
him.
we, I mean, we could probably, is there somebody, do y'all know anybody that could do, or you know anybody that could do a design or could write a design or like, I don't know, Turk's kind of high, I think. What do you think, Mayor? I mean,
Well, it is, but you have to find out, I think, let me talk to Texas Parks and Wildlife.
okay, let's do that, see
because
what kind of a,
I don't know who because they want a professional map. They're not gonna just have like a good guy that draws.
I
so you're
know.
saying this won't do?
Yeah, I'm saying,
That's not good. You know what, now, what about this? I know a good friend of mine works for Ash and Associates. I could talk to
I don't
him.
know.
He does survey.
Okay.
And I could talk to him. I mean, he
Yeah, that's fine. I just,
survey like a map, so they do flats and
Sure.
all that stuff. Let me talk to him.
Okay, I
Okay.
wanted to ask Malcolm. Malcolm, what do you think?
What do you think, Mel?
Got
What-
any
what do you
thoughts
wanna
on
do?
what we're
As y'all
talking?
know, I'm on the river advisory board, not the parks advisory board.
Well, they're all. the same.
Yes.
So I really came here for item 2.
What-
And I'll tell you, to the extent, as Dorothy alluded to the extent that the parks board, it came into the recreational interest and the city of Martindale, to the extent that we can take into consideration the literal and riparian aspect, the impervious cover aspect, everything the parks board decides to do will benefit us all in the future.
Yeah,
That's about what I think.
Do you think it'd be beneficial for y'all to work together with the Parks Committee, have a,
Okay, so I guess you kind of get down to 2, but
Item 2.
here's what I think. I think if we get to that, I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
Go for it.
I'm always a favor of biannual joint meetings. I'm not necessarily in favor of combining the two.
I didn't say that. I just
oh
said-
yeah, that's gonna be,
no, not combining
that's
the
gonna
two.
be the topic on the, was should we? Yeah, item 2.
Well, I'm just, okay, I'm just saying, I'm not saying, just saying work, because, our parks are part of the river and all that. I'm not saying.
I'm gonna hold more out aquatic mileage, so I guess that's things. That's fine. We need people.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that.
well, and our parks and our river go together. I mean, our parks are along the river. So, Joy?
Go ahead, Joel.
My concerns are what you voiced, that we pay attention to repairing issues, the impervious cover limit, especially being FEMA buyout land, we know that all that land is flooded out, not just that piece or that piece, all of it is
Right.
flooded
Yes,
out.
exactly.
So, so we definitely don't want to make things worse.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of softball, the dog park. I think it'd be nice to have like, bird nesting sites or wildlife, pockets.
And
would
Lockhart
be-
State Park, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it would be cool to have like little, information, like
That's what I was
pictures.
gonna say, yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead.
No, I mean, they just do that in Lockhart State Park, because Robin and I have go to there all the time. And like, this is a red something tree and.
Native to this area and it's been here since whatever, and this is how, yeah, I think that.
Yeah,
You know what the SPURF does, which is a great idea, is people pass or they plant a cypress tree. That would possibly be a good program. People don't plant a tree such and
Well,
such.
there's a ton of grants. I don't know if you looked into tree reforestation and things like that. So where even grants where they will come and plant the trees and maintain the trees. They just want the land.
They came and spoke to us about, Alan Bates. I thought we said that, I thought we approved that. That's.
That was before I came on. I was here for that meeting, just
Okay.
seats up here.
I thought we said, great idea. Then what happened after that? I don't know.
I remember the library having an announcement about come and help us plant trees. That was a couple of years ago, is that right?
It wasn't tree, it was just, yeah, native seeds.
No, there was a thing, they were gonna give you out a little tree, a little tiny tree.
That was Virginia Parker though,
Oh.
Yeah.
with Smurf.
Okay,
The
got
San
it.
Marcos River Foundation is doing that now,
Yeah.
and she knows where we can get to.
Is it cypress, usually cypress or
Is
oak?
that the-
It's
All
variety of
kinds.
species. In
Yeah.
fact, cypress is not usually one of them because they're, at least so far, they're planting on higher ground, you get cypress really well.
Yeah.
Feel like a lot of water. Get
I,
water there.
Japanese,
Get water there.
mini forest, is that part of that? What's the, I'm even book, mini forest, save the world.
Yeah, well, the River Foundation just planting them all in a row down that land that they have southeast side of Interstate 35, and so far they just put them in a row.
For example, Malcolm, about 11 years ago, I planted a cypress tree in my backyard. And it's probably about that tall. That sucker is about that big around, about 40 feet tall. Those things are pretty fast
I
growing.
need to take lessons from you. I planted about 6, 8, 12 of them.
I think mine have to water, they need to water them.
My hand lotion, which is outstanding. They send you a little
Water, too
acorn.
close to the river, it's by the water thing.
Yeah, that's good.
That thing.
Okay,
yeah, I
Sam
just wanted to
wanted
make one observation. My family has owned the land there since 1961. So we've been through the 98 flood, the 2015 flood. But what happens is that you see that this is all 500-year floodplain, 100-year floodplain, and the floodway. So the proposal for the gazebo or the soccer field right here is a very narrow patch of land where the 500-year floodplain, it's basically from where these blue marks are to where my property line is right there. And so I personally think that it's too narrow, and the impervious cover, the 3,000 square feet,
But it's not in the flood.
I'm still talking about this, excuse me.
I'm
And
sorry.
that if we did abide by our ordinances that said it'd have to have a 50-foot setback, that it would be in the 100-year floodplain, which is this crosshatch line. But again, I have seen flood and flood debris come all the way up to my property, all the way up to here. And currently on this lot, there is still mounds and mounds of flood debris there from 2015. But what also happens is that it floods from Morrison Creek, from Mike Holmes's property. And so what happened in 2015, not only was it flooded on the riverside, but Southeast River Road was flooded all the way to Cemetery Road. And my renters had to be evacuated out by helicopters. So that's why I am against, I would like to see more passive recreational activities through here, because, or even if the soccer field was closer to this intersection, but in order to put anything this far in to the FEMA buyout properties, you're surrounded by a floodway on all sides. And many of us that have been here for many years know that the river rages all the way across here, all the way up Owl Hollow, across my property in the lower field, and on this side. So I'm thinking more about safety. I'm saying that the 3,000 square foot of concrete for this soccer field is too intensive, and there's no roadway network there. We have no sewer lines currently along Southeast Road. They're all collapsed. There's nothing there. And so as a city council person and as a resident, I am against the soccer field here. for many reasons. And plus, it's just the wrong place for it. It isn't safe there. It isn't safe for the kids. It's not safe for the users. It's too much impervious ground cover. There's a fence around it. And I think we should consider putting it back at Hobson Ranch or at Allen Bates.
But Sam, I don't think any kids are gonna be playing on it during a flood. And I don't think there'll be any dogs in the dog park during the flood.
But it's
Or
in terms
softball
of maintenance, if it floods, then all that debris is gonna be all over the road.
But the whole city floods and the whole city gets full of debris and we have to clean up everything in the town. So it's not gonna be any
The
different.
debris only goes down the river and then it expands out across Al Hollow. That's why all these properties were bought out. That's why Lily Cochran was bought out. That's why
Right,
15.
right, but we're not gonna put people's houses
Well,
there.
and we appreciate your comments, and we're aware of the flooding.
I
We know that the
don't
bridge-
think that we really are.
1979 bridge flooded, and we are very, I was here during 2015, and I know how that water went across there and how terrifying it was. I understand what you're saying, but we're only gonna use this for recreational purposes, so that's what we're trying to add to the beauty of our town.
Okay.
And
But
we've
putting an
got
impervious ground cover of 3,000 square feet is a lot different in the FEMA standards that
Not in the
say
floodway, but you're not in the floodway.
you're surrounded by
Yeah, you're
floodway.
surrounded by the
Okay.
floodway. but
We're
you're-
here to try and
so on.
decide how to use the property, and I think we've made some headway. So I'm really appreciative of that. So can I just recap a little bit? We do want to have parking over on Southeast River Road,
Mhm,
at least to start with,
mhm.
and gate off the Owl Hollow Road.
Sounds reasonable.
And then we can get a hog, what do they call them, a hog something that kind of cuts a path through,
Rush off.
a brush hog that can.
Just say Corey on it. Corey will do it. He's kind of a brush off.
He's a little scary to ride in that Jeep with. But I mean, at least this is a start.
It is a start.
And we're,
Am I allowed to say that we've touched on, at least we kind of overlapped with, phase one and Allen Bates. Am I allowed to say something real quick about, Guardiola? Because we're talking parks.
sure, go ahead.
I love that in this design, you've got like an identity you've got different things available to our residents. If you're in phase 2 and 3, then if you're at phase 1, right? Like they each have their own separate attractions for people. And and Allen Bates has like the playground and it has its own, and it's got a soccer field and like it's got its own identity. And so people can go there to do things. I would like for us to try to keep that idea in mind as we develop our other parks in the future, because I'm hopeful we're going to even get more. And one of the things that Corey and I touched on when we were coming back in his Jeep, and I had something in my eye that stayed there for 3 days because
Oh,
it's
no.
wild, was we were talking about Guardiola and how it's kind of missing an identity. And I mean, I know we talk about, sorry, do you like my homemade bifocals? So we were kind of talking about, like, I know it's like kind of the quiet little whatever. So we kind of tossed around that idea that maybe something really nice for it, because it is close to downtown where people come to the restaurants and stuff. Maybe we make that have art installations where people can walk around out there. And we even talked about having it be kind of a competition to make it be more prized, where like the artists, all local artists, and they could apply and show pictures of some of their other work and what they have in mind to put in that park, and then have a little committee that can say like, okay, you're the awarded one and you can build your sculpture or whatever. Like you could even do like a mini wall and have a mural. You could do a metal sculpture. You could do a fountain sculpture, and really give that park some color and some life and some energy that's different than the other parks. and still keeps in being with its kind of more mellow quietness, and like it's not going to be a big, we need a more meditative kind of veteran thing that we've talked about. And so that might be something fun that people would like, and the people that would be hanging out downtown would be very close to it. And
More benches, more,
yeah, more just like, yeah, and being able to just look at these interesting things, murals or sculptures or a fountain. It's,
How about a little,
and especially if it's all local people, local artists, I think that would make it in keeping with our kind of old fashioned downtown feel. Small town art installation. I don't know.
what about a little, stage for music?
That's what I was thinking too.
Well, we already have so much music, but I'm in favor of
I'm just
music.
throwing it out there.
I am always in favor of music.
Yeah, have a little stage.
Just don't let me sing.
I have a guitar.
But I'll dance.
I would-
Yes, you do, because I heard you play the other day
I would- Really?
at
Was I there?
duets. Yeah,
Was I there?
you were there and you were good. Yeah, I heard you.
I think your husband plays here, right? He's a little taller.
A little taller.
I don't think I played there, but
Nuh-uh.
I just want to say.
Shut up, really?
No.
You like that idea? Have a little gazebo or something?
Well, then I'll let you play in that park. That's not really my park anyway.
I'm thinking that phase
Was it a
3,
guitar?
that
I have a guitar.
32592, that could be a park for like a theater kind of.
That would be a good
Where
place
you
because
could
it's
have
away from
concerts.
downtown. Where you're not competing with the restaurant stuff. And you could also do little performances, like they could have a little play there.
Yeah,
For kids.
because it'd be a big open space, and it's just.
I'll
it's
come, I'll bring
completely
marionettes.
What are you talking about? Which one?
The
one across the
325
street?
the old, where you said that, the guy from
Oh,
Guadalupe
the
Gas.
old gravel pit, okay, yeah. and
The,
then
is it the one by Cemetery Road?
No, this
No,
one, it's
outside.
up across, it's almost downtown. It's on the other side, like there's,
Oh, the one where Elizabeth used to own? No, that's Fannin.
that's Fannin. No, this would be like, Allen Bates Park, and then it's, Callaway's
Oh,
property.
Yeah.
gotcha.
And then that
Yeah,
big
that
piece
would
of
be good.
property.
Yeah,
Wait,
and
where?
if we
Show
had
me,
a-
show me.
If we had our text.
City
box-
Secretary,
there's-
show me.
There's the city, the Allen Bates Park is, well, it's the one, that's for that one right there.
We don't own that.
Yes, we
We
do.
do.
That's phase 3.
Blow my mind. I thought phase 2 and phase 3 were both together right there.
That's
at-
what I thought too, but I was wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So this is phase 3.
Right now, nothing.
Get out of here.
What we're talking about tonight is phase 2. Someday we've got to name these parks.
We do. We do.
The city council went, we're not ready to do
You know,
that.
I'm always,
We like it, we like it.
whoever gives us the most money will name
What's
it.
the number of that lot? Can anyone
Make a-
tell me?
Make a donation.
Sam,
It's
Maverick Park.
593.
592.
32592 is
Yeah.
phase 3.
I know him, sorry, I know most of my heart.
32592.
Okay, okay. So,
I've looked at it.
then wait. So help me with this then. When Corey and I are doing this grant, we're only proposing phase 2. We're not asking Texas Park and Wildlife for any other parks or any other things, except bathrooms at Bates. Is that correct? Is that everyone's understanding? Anyone's understanding?
You know, Laura, one vision I had is where
Yes.
the Doc Carter property is.
Yeah.
That's kind of a high point.
Mhm.
I wanted to make that a scenic overlook,
We could get
a
those
little
things.
picnic table.
Oh, and those metal things that you put a diamond and you can look.
Yeah, but that would be a perfect, that'd be a perfect scenic overlook.
Can you see those trucks? coming
Oh,
out?
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Parkland already, or is the city?
Say that again?
I believe it's already listed this time.
I was asking if 32592 was already.
Yeah, it's phase
Yeah.
3.
Yes, because we have to find matching parkland, city land to make into a park for this grant.
Not to make it a park, but just to designate as park.
Yes.
It's all part, that's one of, Sonia and myself, first thing I did in 2018, we designated city land to parkland. And that's the first thing we did. It's all parkland.
Now, why does this say phase two and that says two? Are they, because they're all phase two, but
Right.
not this? Or
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
this?
all of it,
Okay, the whole thing.
yeah.
All right,
That's all phase two.
gotcha.
And the dream is if you ever got Callaway and you got the Cochran property, you'd have a continuous piece of property from Allen Bates over to Basin.
Right.
If you got Callahan and what's this?
Well, that Maggie Smith property, 28201, is still listed as Maggie Smith, and it's like SCHMI,
It's like.
MIT,
Okay,
and
So
it's Doc
that-
Cochran's sister.
so I thought this one was, no, I thought this one was Doc Cochran.
Mm-mm.
No, it's only this one is the one that's the problem child. And
Yes,
that one.
and then it'll
These we
will
all
be
already have.
connected,
Gotcha.
except for the Goen property.
Good.
Would be the
Except,
only.
oh, but we're buying that one?
Well, the Goen is where
That little
this
triangle is.
triangle right here, we don't own. That's why,
But we're trying to.
yeah. Well, we will attempt to, yes.
Okay.
We've got to see if we can contact. There's a lot of Cochrans around, but somehow we can't figure out any title to that. So
Gotcha.
we're probably gonna have to take it to a sheriff's sale.
I guess for me, for you guys, the park
I've
and
thoughts
the
about
river
that.
committees, we, come up
I
with
have
drawings or
plans for
something,
a lot of
grants.
weeks to do that for
Think
all of
to
them.
put it together, as a total
And then-
package where we
and
can
then-
get grants directly.
and make a foundation.
Whatever.
I was
We
thinking
can get
of
Yeah.
come up with plans.
Those plans.
And well,
Donate them to
we
the
got,
city
city's
for
got
parkway.
money, we could pay somebody to do a
Broken
professional,
beauty of the town.
professional drawing.
We thought people
I will
that
check with.
could
I will check
afford
with my
to do
friend.
that, to donate that, if it was like $15,000, $30,000, they would do it,
Oh, that'd be great.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we need a foundation tax wise to make it worth their while.
They might know somebody.
Okay, should we move on to number
Sure.
2?
Go
Let's do
for
it.
Scheduling of biannual joint river and parks advisory boards. Since your chairs aren't here.
Oh,
is
yeah,
that-
to be here, he's in Florida, I think, working with hurricane victims. But,
Oh,
Wow.
we, had a discussion at our last meeting. And, most members were not interested in combining the two, boards. However, because we have so many overlapping issues, we felt it would be beneficial for the city that we, have a biannual, meeting. discussion.
Biannual or biennial? Is it every 2 years or
Twice
twice
a
a
year.
year?
Twice a year.
Twice a year.
And it would be, I think, more in the form of a workshop than an actual
Right.
board meeting.
Could y'all set it up like grant writing time or grants are being?
I'm not sure. how
Well,
much-
there's a lot of
I don't know how
issues.
much in-depth
I don't know when
expertise
that
we
is.
have.
Yeah, there would be a lot of
Sure.
other like meatier issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't need them all meeting like that. for
You
that.
know?
No, they need to meet like, because they have a lot of things in common, like,
well, there's a few things like
Erosion
you have brought up about like
Riparians.
riparian,
yeah,
but they've talked about the,
yeah.
and so.
Can I just say, the last time we tried to have the river board and the parks board meet, somebody pulled a power play and tried to stop a conversation and sequester 3 people to meet at a later time and decide everything, which was real BS. And I called them on it, and I don't want to see that happen
I
again.
don't remember it.
I wasn't there.
Wasn't there?
It was the
Jeff wasn't
individual.
there.
Right back over there.
Well, whatever happened, we don't need to worry about.
That's in the past.
That's
It's
not
a new
the-
day.
that's not The plan.
It's a new day.
No, but that's what happened.
Well, that's.
I think it's a good idea.
We'll go start fresh.
The trail under the bridge.
I think it would be a very good idea because any opportunity that there is for y'all to share what you're specializing in with them and for them to talk about whatever they're planning and get your input about it would be a benefit to the city in terms of strategic and long-term planning.
Well, our committee does too, because everything we do impacts in some way the riverfront.
Mhm.
Our people are developing, and everything they do certainly impacts what we're trying to protect.
Right,
So I think a twice yearly meeting is a good thing. I'd be helping any way I can to get that done.
fantastic.
Sound like a winner?
Yay.
You in charge of the meeting, so we'll have
Can I delegate that to Joy or something?
yes, but not to, never mind. The guy with the name so nice.
Those are the
Twice.
tree lane lots we're talking about is across from Sam's property.
So, Mayor, do you want me to reach out to my guy or the surveyor about possible drawing, a sketch or some kind of? a-
Sure.
Okay, then that, okay. Okay, see if we can, you might
Okay,
know somebody. There's somebody that does it.
unless there's something anybody else would
Anybody
like to
wanna talk about
discuss.
Say
I
what you
think-
want to say, so you got our full attention.
I'm good.
You can kind of see the big scope of where we're trying to go with the hiking trail from downtown
We need money,
and around.
need land.
It's a matter of figuring out a safe way too, because one reason that we didn't come back around is like, once you come back down to the gravel pit, or, yeah, up to the gravel pit, if you go down and then back up, it's like, how do you safely get back down to the, it's a little scary walking along there.
It
So-
would really promote the downtown businesses for sure.
Yeah, so going just out and back was what we had presented to TxDOT.
That'd be a good start.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice. I was really excited about it.
Maybe we'll get it. We'll get it.
So is Southeast River Road a city road? Or is it also
It's a
text-
county road.
It's a county.
It's County Road 103. So County Road 103 is also Northwest River Road. And then in downtown area, it's Main Street, and then it's Southeast River Road, but it's all County Road 103.
Gotcha.
Why don't they
So-
take care of it up there?
I know, I asked them that.
So then, in addition to whatever we might deal with TxDOT about, we might also want to talk to the county about a crosswalk across Southeast River Road. If you're gonna have parking come in off of Southeast River Road. People could cross over right there to get onto 32593 where the where the softball field would be. Theoretically.
Well, would there be a reason for a crosswalk? That's a gravel pit
Maybe.
there.
For that neighborhood?
Yeah, if you're walking from downtown on that, like there's that whole neighborhood that's right there.
That's those blue houses,
Mhm.
duplex or whatever.
See, there's a lot of people on that side of the road,
Side, yeah.
so they could just cross over Southeast River Road and,
Unfortunately, there's no way to walk on that side of the road.
Yeah, we need that tech stock.
You know what I mean? There's no walkway, a defined walkway, like in front of it. 'Cause I
even
know-
but not down 79, but through the neighborhood. If you're,
Yeah, I don't. think
There's
there are
Crockett
parks.
Street, but it dead ends into our lift
I have to
station.
look at that, because I've looked at it before, but I
We'll
don't,
get across the park.
Here's-
yeah.
You know.
No, I see what you're saying.
Here's a place
I,
for that.
I,
I don't really know, I was just staring at you,
Or
because in
from
my
the
head, I was
park.
trying to think of those streets and how they go.
Laura, quick question for you. On that tech stock, trail that we didn't get, could we apply that for the for Texas Parks and Wildlife?
No.
Cause it is a trail, part
Yeah,
of
but
it.
that's not
No, one word.
No, Matthew said no.
that's not the same thing. It's a different
Even the
purpose.
trail going through our,
No, they would connect parking or one park to another park. So they would go under the bridge. And Ryan said that would not be a problem. They can do that. But they would not go from, that is outside the scope of what they would do.
Yeah, that whole thing was like couple $1 million that we were asking TechStop to do. And that's not what this grant is. There's a cap.
Could we reduce some of it and like say a trail from Allen Bates to phase one? Would that be a Texas Parks and Wildlife?
If you did that, you couldn't do anything else. There's a cap. There's a cap on how much money you can spend. It's not a big grant like TechStop was.
Well, I mean, you have a real short one, just make a trail from Allen Bates just to phase one.
Well, like he was saying, your trail could be to go from phase one to phase two. But if you want to, but what the parks people have asked me to do is do this grant to develop phase two so that we can put the trails in there and bathrooms in there and baits. That's like, basically that's gonna take all of the money. So you won't really have additional money to put that sidewalk in.
I mean, well, say forget the sidewalk, I'll make a permanent trail from Allen Bates to phase one, using that same drawing that Turk drew and just cut part of the other part of it off. And just and that way you would, if you had that trail, you would have a walking trail all the way to phase one.
How hard would it be for community to do that?
How far would it be?
How hard would that be for us to do that?
What do you-
To make that trail.
I mean, I'm talking about physically go out.
Oh, we make our own trail. Problem is, what we really need, we need Callaway's property, that's the problem.
Well,
Really,
yeah, exactly.
I need to call them, by the way.
You could just put it in there and let him worry about it.
How did that get there?
It's not like anyone's gonna say.
Like-
Property, you just need enough room for a trail.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, we just, start.
So, is there money
Surveyor tried to
for the
grab
Callaway
some of our
property?
land.
Yeah,
Is there any money
We
available?
talked about that, Maria and I talked about that, but I guess right now the mayor was saying that the property's valued at 600,000 and the cap on that grant is 750. So, I mean, that's your whole entire thing. You could spend it on that and then just not put in anything
Oh,
else.
I would go for the land and get the trails later.
Well, it would be the trails, it would be everything we've talked about tonight.
I mean, from my personal opinion is acquire the land while we can, and then we could do it later. I mean, that's just, I would say that would be priority to purchase that or get the Callaway property.
I would say that would be a definite vote before we can
Okay.
try that.
Mike, would you buy it for the city?
Oh, yeah, right. About check.
In Oklahoma, they did, killers of the flower moon, they just went in there and knocked off people here and there.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
You see the movie, read the book if you really want to see it.
So what I'll do, I'll reach out to Mr. Callaway and see if he said he might, about a year ago I contacted him, he said he might consider it.
And ask him, what would he consider doing it for the good of the town?
I'm just asking what he wants for it. I'll just ask him now.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Y'all any more questions, no comments? It's your,
I think this is great.
Everybody read Killers of Flowers and get a lot of good ideas in there.
That's right.
Killers of the
We're gonna,
Flower
then we're gonna come back and reconvene.
And then we have a whole separate.
We'll see, we'll see who makes it to the next meeting.
That's right.
Well, get somebody to marry him and
And
then
when
you
you're
knock
talking
him off.
about
and then
Parliament, by
she-
the way,
she
you're not
owns the
supposed to
property.
have
That's
that
how you-
RV. And
Lordy.
I'm already married.
he doesn't.
I'm not doing that.
he has, once, when I bring my dogs down there.
On the Callaway property? Is that on the Callaway property?
Go down there.
Pardon me?
If you go down, go all the way down like you're gonna go down the hill of Allen Bates, you can see it right there.
I never. Is it-
What'd you say about the?
Is there an
The
RV on
RV.
Callaway's property?
The RV.
Is there one?
I haven't.
I have seen one at times. I don't know if it's still there.
It has been for the last few months, but it might be gone now. I'm not saying. I've been
An
watching
RV,
there.
there's an RV past the Callaway property on the first other lot.
Ah.
Like literally, right
Right
over
over.
their property.
Okay,
So obviously,
that's probably that one.
I'll reach out to him. He might.
Wonder how they get it there.
Yeah, so.
It's been there, the guy doesn't move it. It's been parked there for over 5 years.
Forever, yeah, it's been there.
There comes a flood.
Yeah. I see it all the time when I walk my dogs around.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
I adjourn. Motion to
You're making a
adjourn.
motion to
I
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Who
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Look at the time, 7:38.
No, we adjourned, didn't we?
No, she said you have to say the time.
Oh, 7:38.